Ooh, we got our special guest on the line, Daniel Turner with Power of the Future. How are you, my friend?
Jesse, thanks for having me on again. It is tactically unwise for me to be on your show right now.
That is outstanding. I am glad to hear you are celebrating Friday the way a grown man celebrates Friday. Now tell me what is new in the world of these radical leftist environmentalists.
You know what, Jesse? The world is seeing the tactics that the environmental left has deployed for decades now. This radical, aggressive, and violent tactics. If your listeners remember, this has been going on since the 80s and the 90s, back to the spotted owl crisis of the Pacific Northwest. This radical, aggressive tactics are part of their activities, and so it has now become a mainstream part of politics in America.
What is their final goal, Daniel? I mean, we talk about environmentalists a lot on the show, and I've always separated them into two different groups. The true believers in it, as misguided as they may be, and then the power-hungry scum in D.C. that just uses the other people to gain power. But what the people that are just in it to gain power, we know what they want. What does a true believer environmentalist, what do they really want? If they could wave a magic wand, what would the world look like to them?
Oh gosh, I guess it would look like the Flintstones, right? Because they don't like energy, they don't like progress, they don't like capitalism. And if you're someone like Tom Steyer, who sunk $120 million into this last election, and you can't believe you didn't flip the Senate, look at how they're talking about things like, well, we won the popular vote, so we should abolish the Senate. These are people who have such radical, unconstitutional, dare I say, un-American beliefs that's how they see the world. If they do not win, then the system must be destroyed.
Tom Steyer. Now, I'm just a dumb Marine that went to community college, so assuming I don't know anything, tell me who Tom Steyer is and why I should care.
Well, what fascinates me about Tom Steyer is that he sunk $120 million into this last election, $14 million into the Florida gubernatorial race, which as of right now he has lost, though they're up for recount. So let's see if he lost in the end. But these are people who have really crazy beliefs when it comes to global warming and climate change, and they do not lose. And if they lose on the ballots, they will win in the courts. For me, the best example of Tom Steyer is why they destroyed and tried to crucify Brett Kavanaugh, because the courts are their only source of refuge for what they cannot get through public opinion and through referendums.
If I'm somebody who thinks, and I am, that environmentalism, this radical environmentalism, is a real threat to the future of the country, which Democrat or potential Democrat candidate for president should I be most frightened of in 2020? Let's say the worst happens. I don't believe it'll happen. Let's say the worst happens. Trump goes down. Who is the person who gets elected and you're like, oh crap, we're in trouble now?
Oh, I guess you could take your pick. I mean,
oh,
Kamala
that's
Harris.
Even more scary. I wish you could have named one.
No, so many. Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, Tom Steyer, Michael Bloomberg. These are all people who believe in a radical environmental agenda. And since they cannot get it passed through public opinion, look, Tom Steyer is saying $25 million. $25 million. I would love to think I had $25 million to spend on a ballot initiative. He spent $25 million in Arizona to change their constitution to make it green. He lost by 17 points. These are people who will tell the rest of us how we should live our lives.
Daniel, people out there care about this. They care about it a lot. Tell me, how can my audience help you? What can people do? Are they supposed to donate somewhere? Are they supposed to sign a petition? They're just supposed to follow your work. Tell me, how do we follow you? How do we support what you're doing? Because it's great work.
Well, I appreciate the shout out. PowerTheFuture.com, and our whole mission is to support energy workers in rural America and to push back against the radical green agenda and to push back against their crazy environmentalism and people like Tom Steyer and Michael Bloomberg. You know, what's a problem with America right now is that the ideas that are pushing the radical left are totally distanced from the men and women who produce the means through which they live. They don't know farmers. They don't know manufacturers. They don't know energy workers. They don't know people who work in coal mines, who work in fracking. But they are going to decide from the hallowed halls of San Francisco and from New York City and from Austin, Texas. They're going to decide what the rest of us need to believe. And we need to push back against their ideas.